So we'll have a round of panel discussion. So before that, I would like to invite the panelists to the dais. Mr. Satyan Vyas, CEO Symphony Summit. Mr. B.S. Rao, Vice President Marketing Controllers Data Centers. Mr. H.T. Suresh, Regional Chief, Hudco India. Suresh, Santosh, can I ask you to put the chair properly? Mr. Karthikeyan, President SIITA. Mr. Somit Bhattacharya, Head Services Inflow Technologies. Somit Bhattacharya. Mr. Vidyasankar, can I invite you, sir? You are the expert. You are the observer. Okay. So, can I ask Mr. Nalin Patel? So we'll have a brief on the topic that how digitization opens a big opportunity for SME and VARs. The technology sector continues to evolve in 2015 with prioritization on enabling transformation and taking steps towards creating a digital India. There is no doubt that SMEs are key drivers for inclusive growth, and SME units are flourishing in an organized way. Especially, the manufacturing clusters have positioned themselves with a strong footprint in the economy. With the present growth, IT infrastructure, which has been the key backbone of economic, technological, and social prosperity after the Industrial Revolution, plays an important role in changing fast and digital revolution. Our recent analysis reveals that small and medium enterprises are expected to play a leading role in adoption of social, mobile, analytics, and cloud smack in India. India's SME sector has been one of the primary drivers of its economy. Small and medium enterprises accounts for 45% of India's total manufacturing output and employ around 40% of the workforce. To start with, so one table is there. It is not for me, in fact. I want to invite from the audience who want to be in the part of panel discussion. No, audience, who will be interested? Can I have someone from the BFSI segment? Power segment? Can I invite you, sir? Please, part of the. Can I invite any one person from the audience? Mr. Suresh is there. President AIT. Prakash, Mr. Prakash. Mr. Prakash, can I invite you? So, sir, before that, if you can introduce one line of introduction. One line of introduction.
Yeah, I am Prakash, current President of Association for Information Technology, Bangalore.
So what do you do?
I'm into IT. I run a company called Towers Infotech Private Limited, which is a 24 years old IT company.
You have seen a lot of SMEs growth.
Definitely. I have seen from that day to today a lot of changes in the industry.
Okay, so we'll have further more from you. Mr. Karthikeyan.
I'm Karthikeyan. I represent the South India Information Technology Associations, which is about 90 districts, about 5,000 plus partners, where we've been trying to work along with the partners to make sure that they adapt to the growth. And there's been a huge change which is happening in that front of the business. So there's a lot which can be taken from today's discussion.
So what is your core competencies?
core competencies in terms of my
Business,
business.
yeah.
I hold a software company. I also have a distribution company, and we are into multivarious activities like SAP consulting in the US, and we are into project implementations, software development, and we
So
have
many
in
things you
the
are
entire
into.
gamut of IT related.
So you have got so many SMEs to cater the business.
Yes, of course. Yes, we do. Yes.
Mr. Nalin.
I'm Nalin Patel, CEO of Ankita Electronics Private Limited, immediate past president of AIT Bangalore, founder of FEDAC, Karnataka Federation of IT Association, and currently South India IT Association Vice President. I am in corporate business of distribution business.
Thank you. Sir.
I am S. Subramanian. I am DGM Telecom and Regional Head South for Power Grids Telecom business, and we are supporting the IT industry and all the telcos for bridging the digital divide by building infoways on power transmission network. Thank you.
Mr. Satyan, can I have?
Hi, my name is Satyen, and my job is that I run a software company for Symphony Technology Group. I have spent nearly 2.5 decades in IT industry in India in various roles. I used to be an entrepreneur. That's when I met young Ravi, who is now leading a business in Lenovo. That was my own business. I worked with IBM and Dell in my career, and now I'm part of Symphony Technology Group, which is a private equity firm building about 22 companies, and I'm running one of them. Thank you for calling me.
Mr. Rao, can you have a small introduction?
Sure, thank you. So, good evening, gentlemen. It's a great privilege to be amongst the entrepreneurs. So, I've been in the industry for over 2 decades plus. I've been an intrapreneur and an entrepreneur both. I've had my own share of journey in entrepreneurship. I currently work with Sridhar, who's the founder of Control S. I steer the global marketing operations. Primarily, I engage a lot of customers, be in the SME or the enterprise space, to understand how we can help them optimize the businesses and align with the overall goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rao. To start with, so we have got panelists from various segments, as we have already announced. So to start with, how do SMEs are empowering in changing India? Mr. Rao, you have got 1 minute to explain.
Well, I think SMEs, to my mind, have played a very significant role. SMEs is just a terminology. I think all of them are entrepreneurs. And the entrepreneurial ecosystem has been driving the waves. We had the waves in post-independent era, the 60s, then the 70s, the manufacturing era. Then we had the 80s and 90s, which is now the IT revolution. And then we're seeing the startup era. So I think Mr. Deepak actually articulated in terms of what percentage of GDP does SMEs contribute. We have 45 million entrepreneurs out there in the country. I think out of the global 300 million, 45 million to 50 million is from India. And if you look at United States, I think they typically have around 25 million entrepreneurs. So we have a lot to really talk about the country. We provide basically entrepreneurs through SMEs and MSME system provide employment to a lot of youngsters, be it engineers, be it graduates. I think the most powerful employment engine for this country would be the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Call it SMEs, call them as large enterprises, or call them as startups.
Mr. Satyan, can you tell?
I would agree with Mr. Rao. We all talk about, and in fact, the statistic that Mr. Vidyashankar brought forward, that the entrepreneurship actually is on the decline. I think this is the cause of concern, because all the while we've been talking about the mid-market businesses, the smaller companies, being the real generation of job opportunities, about wealth, and playing the right role in the value chain. And with the new focus on Make in India, with the technology being the backbone available not only for the large companies but also for the mid-sized and smaller companies, I think this is a time for the smaller companies to play the real rightful role in making Indian economy, the global economy that we all aim to make it. Thank you.
Can you tell about empowering SME? What do you think about?
Though Power Grid Corporation of India Limited, we are having a power transmission network of about more than 1.5 kilometers, 1.5 lakh kilometers of transmission network across the country. And we have laid the optical fiber cables on these power lines and providing an entirely different terrain and different route for reliable telecom connectivity and data connectivity for all enterprise segment. And we are having a MPLS network which is high technology, and we are also supporting the small industries in such a way that Power Grid is one of the implementing agency for providing the national knowledge network, national optical fiber network. Through these links, we are providing support of internet services, data services, even to the small hospitals and educational institutions, and even in some remote locations. For example, somebody cannot, we are serving a very big telcos and companies. Recently, there is a resort which is located away from the city. He wants a small connectivity of 4 Mbps internet link, but nobody can reach there, but our power line goes through that route. We can tap the fiber and connect to them. So we can reach the remote location which cannot be reached by others. And that way, being a government organization, we are very dynamically and very effectively supporting small and medium industries as well as bigger players in telecom and also all educational and government institutions.
Thank you. Mr. Patel, you must have experience of catering to the SME customers. What is your experience is that?
SME segment is going to have a very good future, very big, good future. The way Make in India campaign is started by our PM. See, any big industry comes where hundreds of SMEs require because their requirement is increased. So SME segment is going to have a very good future. We will have to grab the opportunity because no sooner the big industries, now defense and all segments are going to open by our government and all. So there is a wonderful future for SME. We require to grab the opportunity, go ahead and adopt the technology. We'll have better future.
Mr. Karthikeyan, what is your experience? You are into various types of business. You are into.
Right. I would like to address this on a more on a channel perspective, the opportunity, because we're talking about empowering SMEs.
That would be better.
Yeah. So if we look at Mr. Vidyashankar's presentation, where making entrepreneurs to make a stronger India, that way we have already an existing 5,000 entrepreneurs for the last 2 decades in this industry. And when I'm representing the South India, we're talking about 5,000 partners. Out of this 5,000 partners, we got only less than 10% who is a war, basically. So there is a huge opportunity first to empower them to give this, and there is enough requirement as far as digitalization for the entire country. And we see opportunities which is humongous for these people to go and encash on and take their business to the next level, where it's going to help everybody in the chain to, entrepreneurs creating employment, and there's going to be enough. As I'm also 2.5 decades in the business, started off with 3 people in the organization. Today we are 300 people. So that is how we have grown, and we are able to see a huge opportunity on that front, which has to be encashed by the channel partners.
Okay. How about the Prakash, your experience is?
Yeah. With respect to SMEs, I want to have only few words to say that the success of SMEs and anything is going to really in a big way. There is one key word. See, I'm telling from my experience, I'm working with a lot of industries, as I was discussing with you. Okay, there I work in automation industry. Okay, automation is a key factor for any SMBs or anything to become really a big success. Okay, we had to adapt automation. Okay, automation, maybe anything, starting using a computer is also an automation kind of thing, integrated with all the things. So now IoT of things and what we are talking and everything is definitely, it's a part of automation at home level. Okay, so SMBs has to be completely automated. That means with a minimum effort, you should be able to get maximum output from that industry. Okay, as our tally person was telling, with a less effort, we should be able to get more efficiency.
Yeah.
That will be a key factor for an SME to become a big success in our country.
So everyone has talked about the opportunities. Do anyone feel the challenges for the SMEs to grow in the country? Satyan, can you tell what are the challenges SMEs they face, even though you are SME? What are the
you're
challenges
right.
you face?
Yeah, so actually, I mean, we are SME, but we are part of the larger group. But,
Yeah.
but having been in the industry for a while and seeing various businesses from close quarters, I think the biggest challenge the mid-market or mid-smaller businesses face is the availability of right resources. When you talk about the factors of production, the money, the people, what goes into building business, I have seen many smart businessmen struggling to manage money, manage funds ahead of the curve, and always struggling to make the ends meet. I've seen building teams, I know 300 people is a big team, and I know you will agree with me, it's a big challenge to build team, retain them, so that you can build the enterprise capability and competence. So I think the resource availability is one big challenge. The second is, whatever we say, I don't think the government ecosystem is really conducive for these smaller businessmen. I think the compliance is obviously one part, but the whole bureaucratic framework within which one has to operate is extremely difficult to navigate and deal with. And the third element is that the larger SMEs are part of a supply chain, so somewhere up the chain there is a large organization which is in the supply chain. I think typically the negotiation posture of the mid-market smaller companies is not very strong, and therefore they tend to basically get a shorter end of the stick all the time. I think these are the real challenges. I'm sure people who are running businesses will agree with me that it is not an easy thing to do, to get up in the morning and go and run your business, keep yourself, your team motivated, and face all these challenges that you see. Yeah.
Mr. Rao, do you agree with this, Mr. Satyan?
Yeah, very much. I think, as Satyan said, for an entrepreneur, you got to wake up early morning, and you getting back to work, you face many challenges. Number one is the retention of people, attracting good talent. Second is money management. Third is competitive forces. Fourth is technology. 5 is compliance and the new government regulations that come in. So there are going to be many challenges, but challenges are a part of life. I think as value-added partners to principal companies, all of us look at customer acquisition. So one of the challenges that we should actually overcome to grow the business is acquire customers. And acquisition of customers isn't an easy thing. See, the other thing in terms of compliance or regulatory issues can be dealt with when you generate money. The first important thing is to have a good team which is skilled, which is talented, which is loyal to you, and that particular skill enables you to therefore have an intellectual discussion with the consumers, and that gets you a sale or a deal, and therefore you generate revenues. So the very important thing as business owners is to continuously upgrade ourselves in terms of skill sets, adopt new technologies to get the leading competitive edge. While the other factors which are taxation or compliance, regulatory and other challenges can certainly be dealt with.
Karthikeyan, do I agree with this? Do you also face the same issues?
Yeah, as Satyan was telling, we do have 300 people, but it is a group of companies where we are divided into 3 companies, where each company has got a managing director. As of course, we have one chairman where the entire group comes under that. The challenge is what we face being in a place like Coimbatore, where we are headquartered at. We do not face that many challenges, as attrition. The last 6 months, we were able to keep our attrition rate at less than 3% for my software company, with about 120 people working in the company. So that way, the challenges, of course, that is again the human engagement which has helped us do that. So the challenges are constantly addressed. Compliance is one issue which we've been facing, the government compliance issues where in different companies which can really affect us. The cash flow was better managed by the chairman because he funds the entire business, so he is basically a fundsman. So I think we are pretty much balanced in managing the business because of these aspects of dividing it to 3 companies and a person who's completely on finance, managing a director who focuses on human relationship. So this way we are able to manage, but challenges have been really we have evolved over this 2.5 decades on this. That's the.
I would like to add one more point. Government is doing a lot of things for SMEs, but their information is not reaching to the people. How to encash that facilities, what they are getting and all. Probably that big house is only going and enjoying that facilities and all. SME people, whatever the facilities government is providing and facilities what they should get, that awareness that required to be brought to the people, which is not happening, which is required to be highlighted by the government, like what information today people can get. And suppose you want to put an SME unit, what is the facility you can avail, what funds you can avail and all, that kind of information not reaching to the people. So people are not getting the encouragement for that. But definitely government is doing this information required to reach the people.
Prakash ji, what do you think? Okay, you could please tell.
To add a point to him, actually recently Government of India has announced development of 100 smart cities at an estimated cost of about 40,000 crore in a 5-year time span. But Power Grid has an experience in developing a smart grid as a pilot project in Pondicherry. Though it's a small place, and for a small pilot project, 60 plus stakeholders have put in their innovations into that. It is not Power Grid or any other individual agency who has done it. So 60 plus agencies, they have put in their small inventions into a system, and that is now tested and found successful. But in order to implement it the same thing in a larger way, in about 100 plus cities, it is going to be a major task in coordinating with various agencies and also the standardization of various things which have already taken place. For example, smart meters. Who is making smart meters in India? And how many quantities are required? And this kind of lot of challenges are there. And definitely there is a lot of opportunity also there for the SMEs to get into this. Even in our Power Grid, out of 100 cities, today we are present in 68 cities. And we are now looking how to cover the remaining 32 also, so that when the system is ready, we can also support the initiatives taken by the government.
Mr. Prakash, what is your experiences?
See, I've seen a lot of my customers, SMEs. The main things I would like to touch upon, only 2-3 things. Okay. One is the governmental policy that everybody is talking about. I think now the government has really opened up a lot, and a lot of things are available on the internet. At the click of a button, you get everything. But still, if it is an SME started by some kind of a guy who is from a village, who is having a good background, a financial background, he want to start. Okay. To reach to that level, to starting an industry or anything, okay, those people I have seen literally struggling even now. They will not get what they want. If they go to that level and ask some questions, the people will tell you, go and see in the internet. They will say a lot of other things. They will tell you have to come back to this thing. We'll tell later. Okay. Other than that, basic things when they start up, with respect to governmental policies, with respect to labor laws and all those things, people are still facing and struggling to face a lot of these problems which is coming from the other various departments. Okay. And on top of all these things, definitely one major thing, that is with respect to skilled labor. How much ever we are talking, we want to do this, we want to do that. Okay, if you don't have good skilled labor churning out, then there is no point. I mean, good industries will not, definitely industries will not flourish. It will only start for the purpose of starting an SME. Somebody is giving ₹1 crore, he will start, he will earn, enjoy all those things, then he will close down.
So
that should not happen.
Yeah, I know.
In true India, it should come up, that should not happen.
So do you think that digital transformation is opening a newer opportunity for SMEs for level playing field, so that they can compete with the large players?
Definitely, 100%.
What is your experience in 1 minute?
Digitization?
Yeah. How it opens a new opportunity for the SMEs so they can play a level playing field with the large enterprises?
Every digitization is a very key role. See, because I'm in the digitization role because we were the digital partners from a long time back, when 23 years back with HP. Okay, at those days that was not key in this thing for storing anything. It used to be on the tape things, and it used to be on all those things started. Now it's digitization has become much advanced. Okay, there are a lot of new technologies available. How it is applicable for SMBs? Definitely, the main key things is anything what you are going to start up, starting from a digitization, starting from the things, documents what you are going to proceed, you are going to submit to the government to start up some industry. Okay, each and everything has to be digitized in the digitized format. It should be available in a click of a button to support. Say, for example, you go to an organization for a labor laws and tell, yes, I want to do all these things. It should be available with you in a digitized format so that he can able to, your accountant or whoever is, he should able to give it to the person required. at one click of a button you should be able to give, and it should be online available to anybody. So digitization of the things, contents, even in the factory, if you're starting up an agriculture related thing, okay, they should have one consultant who will start doing the things in completely automated ways and storing all the data as what they're doing. Okay, losing a data losing a person means then you lose the data. It should not happen. So everything should be recorded and kept in a digital format so that any future people who comes and take up the things should be able to seamlessly continue the things.
Okay, how you, Mr. Karthikeyan, you think about it?
If I am not wrong, your question was digitalization, how it is.
Digital transformation is opening a new opportunity for SMEs, and how they can give a competitive advantage.
Undoubtedly is a huge opportunity which is opened up, and the kind of smart cities and what the initiatives have taken up has really opened up a huge, and I'm sure there is a lot more to come in this space, and SMEs are definitely going to get benefited, leveraging the level playing field between the large and the SME, and I feel that SMEs got a huge role to play here compared to the large people, because large format people may not be focused on a lot of areas which are not of that size, which would be impressive to them. So that way, it's undoubtedly a huge opportunity which has to be encashed by the VARs.
What, Mr. Patel, is your experience?
Digitalization is going to give huge opportunity in every aspect, each and every segment of the society. Either you take businessman, either you take SME, either you take in personal life, in every aspect. So how you utilize that, how you encase, it depends on that.
Okay, next.
Every industry has got its own space to work in this growing digitalization era, as long as they focus on their core competencies and looking at each other person as a contributor in the global environment, rather than looking the other as a competitor and cut each other. As long as that mentality grows, definitely there is enough space for everyone to grow.
Second, what is your perception on the
I have two perspectives on this. The digitalization, so to say, has done two things for smaller businesses. One is that it has made technology accessible, which is you could actually run an ERP, a CRM, an SCM, even if you're a 7 or 10 people company. Today you can go on a cloud, go on a control data center, fire your infrastructure and start using it with not so much of a problem. So technology access is actually important, and that bridges the gap between a large multinational conglomerate and a small company operating out of some part of the country. The second and more exciting part from my perspective is that it has opened up the market on a global scale. Today, I know of companies, I come from a place called Nagpur. I know about a business which has 2 offices in the world, one in Nagpur, other is in New York. They are a software developing company on a very focused micro vertical about stadium automation. And they are making a lot of money. They're sitting in Nagpur, right? And selling it to customers in the US. I know of a company which is in Tumkur, which is owned by a Japanese businessman who does a Photoshop, photo editing BPO. I don't know the name, but I've heard of it to somebody. Now look at the whole globalization scene here. Somebody comes from Japan, sets up an office in Tumkur, and sells into US, right? That, in my opinion, is the biggest change that has happened with information, digitalization, whatever you call it, that sitting here, we don't no more sell to customers in Bangalore. We can actually go and sell to customers any part of the world using digital technology. That's my.
Yeah, when you talk about Nagpur, hope the industrial corridor will come up very soon, within 1 year or 2 years. It's a big project where Government of India is going to get around $5 billion investment. That is recent, is going to announce. Anyway, Mr. Rao, what is your perspective on it?
Satyan really said it right, because there are 2 perspectives to the entire thing. I think SMEs being one, and then the one who takes the technology to the SME. So all of us sitting here, perhaps few of us actually take the technology to the consumer. So let's talk from the SME perspective. Now, like Satyan said, earlier technology was not affordable for everybody. So if you were to buy, let's say, 100 servers, it would cost you maybe, a few lakhs. For a SMB, maybe 1 crore. But with the cloud technology today, you could probably buy virtual compute at probably few 100,000, right? Probably 20,000 a month. So the cloud technology per se has given an SME the power to buy those high-end servers on a pay-as-you-go model, number one. Number two, SMEs can today adopt mobile applications, right, to engage consumers. They can engage employees. They can engage vendors. That's another area of opportunity. Third is you have social media, right? You could engage your consumers, capture the voice of consumer, the customer, and say who's right, who's wrong, what are they saying about your company. You can get into conversations, capture the sentiments, and therefore correct your products or enhance your products. So digitization is just a terminology. It's pre-existing, it's in a new avatar. Cloud, there's nothing called as cloud actually. It's just a nomenclature. It's been pre-existing. So each of these technologies have been existing. They're coming to new avatars, like Ram and Krishna. Now the point is you got to leverage each of these technologies to achieve your business objectives, be it mobile apps, be it cloud, be it social media. Now from enterprise value-added reseller or as a consultant to SMEs, now that particular role actually requires us to adopt the technology. First, very important thing is we should stop selling. As businessmen, I think we should stop selling. The most important thing that we should do when we go to an SME who's intending to buy a technology is to enable them, understand the pain points. What are the pain points they're going through, and which product or service actually enables them, show them the advantages, showcase the benefits, cost-effective benefits, and competitive advantage. Thus, you will be able to enable them. So if he buys that idea of a technology enabling his business, aligned with the business goals, then actually you will be a consultant, not a seller anymore. So you'll stop selling, actually he'll start buying. So I think our avatar should shift from a seller to inducing a buy. And that will actually trigger the growth.
Wonderful,
that's
wonderful,
my thought process.
So we talk about the digitization, a lot of concept. What our audience, they thought about it? Can I have one question, please, from the audience, if they want to ask? Any question? No? Yeah. Please.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, please.
Okay, here I want to ask two questions. One is
one question we'll give it to pass on to someone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you think that startups are a big challenge or a key threat to SME?
Who will want to take the call? Mr. Rao or Mr. Satyan?
So I think startups. You said startups are a big challenge to SME.
Yeah, in the coming days, in the coming months.
Well, I think startups are never a competition to SME. Startups actually complement.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. That was my second question.
Startups are beautiful. It's like the milk and sugar, or milk and honey.
Yeah, exactly.
Wonderful question.
I have a different perspective.
Yeah.
If I understand your question right, you're talking about the new technology startups which are disrupting existing businesses.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like Flipkart, for example, has closed so many bookshops.
Yeah.
Right. Originally, at least that's how they started. Right.
Yeah.
In my opinion, technology will always help newcomer disrupt old businesses.
Exactly.
So either you
Absolutely.
scale up
Right.
or you perish. I think there is no middle path there. Right. Yeah.
While the technology will grow, other person will come out different technology. It will complement existing technology.
Yeah, in fact, what Satyan said is right. See, there was an era when we used to cycle, and cycle manufacturing companies were large. Then came motorcycles, they disrupted the cycle market. Then came four-wheelers, and now we have the boom in cycle market again.
Yes.
So it's cyclical, it's seasonal, it changes with trends.
Wonderful arrangement. So
Thank you.
any one question? But we have an expert who is observing everything, Mr. Vidyasankar. Can you give a conclusion? What we have observed from the panelist? I would request to give a observation.
I'll make a statement rather than a question.
Okay, please.
To me, startups are, as he said, it's complementary. Actually, it is an enabling factor for others to start up, get going, and provide enough of business opportunities for a whole lot of industries. A small example is when computerization was taking place in the 80s. And when we saw the Indian Railways coming through with the computerization in 84, 85, that time, there was a lot of noise going around that computerization will kill jobs, etc., etc. What happened? A whole new industry sprang up, which is actually the lifeline of India's economy today. See, it might have taken 25 years for various reasons. Let's not get into that why it took 25 years and why it shouldn't have happened in 5 years or 10 years or so. There are a lot of enabling factors and disabling factors too in this. Thank you.
Point. I'd just like to add one more to that. See, today, very valid point. I really congratulate you for that thought. Startups are not a threat. I'll tell you why. Do we know our country's population?
1 billion plus.
120 crores statistically. Statistics are never right. It's an indication, it's a probability, right? Maybe it's 130 crores, 150. Can we guess what's the world population?
7 billion.
Absolutely, 700 crores, 7 billion. Between China and India, we constitute to almost 50% of the world population. Right, okay. Having said...
we have 8 billion mobile phone.
Oh yeah, that's right. So, having said that, 1982, the disco era began. But 1982 set off a different journey for this country. 50% of India is born after 1982. So statistically, 60 crore people are born after 1982. So 82 plus, now what is it, 2015? So what will be the age of a gentleman or lady who's born at 82? 33. Not everybody is born in 82, right? So on an average, let's say the average age is around, let's say 18, 19. Now, they will get graduated. So out of the 60 crores, let's say 40% get educated. Out of that, 40% is what? 60 crores into 40%?
24.
24 crores get educated. Let's assume out of that 24 crores, roughly around 60% are graduates or postgraduates, right? What is that percentage? What is the number? 15 crore, right? 15 crore. Statistically, at 1.2 billion. Assuming it's 1.5, go to 20, right? 20 crore jobs are required here on. Let's say they want to get employed 18, 19, XYZ over the next 10 years. 20 crore jobs divided by 10 years, what's the number? That's exactly what Mr. Vidyashankar said. 1.2 crores plus to 2 crores a year. Is that number?
Yeah, he said 1.2 crores.
1.2 crores. So roughly around 1.2 to 2 crores is the employment demand. Where's the supply side? The supply is going to come from the startups. Let's assume we build, all of us commit ourselves to enable 100,000 startups. And 100,000 startups employ 20 people each. What's the number?
We passed that figure.
We passed that figure, right? Let's say entire SME ecosystem starts absorbing 20 more people every year. That can satiate the demand of this country. So startups and SMEs together can be the power engines of employment in this country. Gentlemen, all of you sitting here will be the employment generators and the future contributors of the GDP growth.
The bigger question is, do we really have the potential to generate 100 million startups, 100,000 startups?
Of course, yes.
Why it's not happening? For the post of peons in the UP, there was a recent statement in the newspapers. We've had masters and PhDs and engineers applying for that.
Well, I can actually. I just spoke to one startup the other day, Vidyashankarji. I also share a lot of passion for startups. I also mentor them. So I happened to speak to one of the startups, and I want to share the story with you. So this is a startup, was I am grad, and he started the company 2 years back. I won't name the company. 2 years back, he started the company. His parents said, "Don't start the company." So he told his mom, "Please allow me." She said, "Okay." So he started the company in the bedroom. It's a grocery store. And he built something very unique. And so I asked him what happened. So he said he closed the store just about 3 months back. So I asked him what happened. He said, number one, I didn't have a good team. I said, what happened next? He said, I didn't have money. I said, why didn't you have money? I said, my father wouldn't give it. I said, what did you do? He said, I did odd jobs to raise whatever money. I built a system, I programmed it, and I built a system which was working. Then I went to venture capitalists, and the venture capitalists had their own thing to say, and they didn't fund me. I said, what happened next? He said, I went into a depression. I had suicidal tendencies. I told my mom. She said, give it all up, get back to your job, you're well qualified, you can be back to the industry. And he was in tears when he was telling me this. Now, please, gentlemen, the reason I shared this story is this guy says, this country doesn't give me the ecosystem to survive. Now, what does this startup require is basically a government agency which says, Sonny, you're well qualified, you have a good product, government will fund you, working capital, will give you working capital. Seed capital at equity barter, which means you will probably dilute your equity, and then say, you can probably give 10% equity for the initial capital expenditure that you have. The rest, based on vesting, whatever based on business progression, working capital will be taken care of by the government. So we need a very good ecosystem from the government end. It's not about lip service. If we want this country to progress and not have intelligent criminals by 2025, you don't want intelligent, educated PhDs, BTechs, IM grads to become intelligent criminals. We need to ensure the startup ecosystem survives. And we should do everything possible together to enable them, including the SMEs. SMEs are the powerhouses. Startups will complement them, and therefore they'll become employment generators of this country. And that's what we need to do. The government has a major role to play in this.
Fundamental flaw in this, what I think, is a question of trust between the bankers, I mean, to be very specific, and the company concerned. You don't trust the guy that he will be able to deliver you the goods or not, so you don't fund him.
Well, I think there was a gentleman who started the journey in 1950s, and nobody trusted in 1960s. And today he is the #1 group in this country, the Ambani group. So the point is, bankers will touch you based on their gains. Bankers will come to you when they can make money. They won't come to you when you need money. Especially that applies for the startups.
Rising sun is always worship. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
This is a very interesting perspective because you can have a seat, sir. Don't worry, please.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the perspective, I really appreciate what you said, because the issue is not about the the entrepreneurial spirit in the younger generation, but the ecosystem where, if you look at startup economies in West, in the US, in Israel, right? Now it's also beginning to happen in China. The fear of survival, what will I do if I don't succeed, is there in every entrepreneur, really, but it is probably at a different degrees. In India, most of the educated class is coming from middle class, and we are groomed for going and finding jobs rather than building businesses and creating jobs. And anybody takes a step, today for every Ola or every Flipkart or every Snapdeal, I know there are a bunch of guys who tried it and failed, just like the friend that you said. Where do these guys go? They actually go through depression, they actually go through looking for a job, maybe work for these companies, they are dissatisfied. So there is certainly a need for the country's ecosystem to create a platform for people to explore their ideas. And another point is, today, all of us here, most of us here, I see, are probably not the 82 and later generation. Quite a few of us are pre-82 generation. The newer guys, younger guys, are able to think really out of the box, right? Don't have to think only in one industry, one geography, one country. Many people are building global businesses sitting here in smaller cities and cities like metros in the country. So there are definitely possibilities. We just need a proper ecosystem to build that. Yeah.
I would like to share one small experience. Actually, a few years back, when there was a lot of demand for telecom towers, we had explored that why don't we permit the power line towers to install telecom antennas so that the telcos need not have to create the infrastructure again. And we have studied some global experiences in this front, in US and other countries. And we did a pilot project with our own team, and we got it tested by IIT Delhi, and then we opened up the sector. By that time, in the initial discussions, even most of the big telcos and tower companies, they saw us as one of the threat or some kind of, we may impact their business. But we invited every one of them and we clarified all their doubts, and we told that we are here to support you and complement you. And thereafter, even now we have opened up all our towers, 1,50,000 towers. Any telco can use our towers for installation of antennas, and some of the telcos, they themselves came up in difficult areas where they cannot go. They said, let us also test in northeastern region and other places. They have been very successful, and it's a simple business model, but it saves a lot of time, effort, and effective utilization of the existing infrastructure for the benefit of the public. So these are all one of our best experience where even small players came into picture. Thank
So
you.
it's a wonderful thing. It will keep on going and exploring things.
I would
and,
like to add one more thing.
We'll have time is living.
This computer era started in 1985 onwards. How many from us and how many from our grandfather, father was in a business and all? So how many people got opportunity and where we stand today? It has given a tremendous opportunity. There is a space for everybody who wants to do something, for starters and everybody. Otherwise, go from 85 onwards and see how many people has come in this business without keeping a penny in investing penny in a business. Still we created job for the people and all dealers, channel partners and all that, they may be expressing this. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you all the panelists for the wonderful input.